Welcome to Fresh Cut Games. Today's game is Immortal by David Luis Sanhueza. So in this week's game, you'll be seeing little glass beads being used as components. I have a ton of these things. I got them for use in prototyping my own games. My wife and I design games together. They're just little glass beads that have flat bottoms, a bunch of different colors. These things are really handy, whether you're prototyping your own stuff or doing print and play. You can get them at most craft stores like a Joann's or a Michael's. Cost about $8 for 2.5 pounds, or the 2.5 pound variety pack. Definitely get the variety pack. Don't bother with getting multiple packs of different colors. Get the variety pack, sort them out. It's much more efficient that way. They're generally called glass gems. You'll typically see them being used as filler for like vases and such. Check them out for yourself. They're really handy to have. This episode, we're taking a look at Immortal by David Luis Sanhueza of Gameogami Games. Now, as you can see, this game is a bit of a heavyweight in terms of print and play. It's got 26-page rule set and about 30 or so pages I printed on cardstock that I now have to cut apart. There are also a few more player aids that the game seems complex enough that printing out 4 copies of the player aids also seemed like a really good idea. But anyway, let's get started. I start construction with the game board. This is the modular board that Immortal will be played on. The instructions specified that the modular components are all meant to be double-sided. I didn't know if this would matter during gameplay, so I went ahead and used a glue stick to glue the pieces back to back the way the instructions said they were supposed to. It turns out not to really matter, so if you're printing this game out for yourself, you can probably skip this. But what the heck, it made everything more compact. The cards were nice and straightforward, just ran them through the line cutter, as you can see. I have cut out plenty of cards before. One of the things I do like about the line cutter over the scissors is that it's harder, while it is harder to get a good precise cut with the line cutter, your fingers don't wind up hurting as much. I can do this all day, or at least until the blade gets too dull to use. Then finally, there was a complete sheet of tokens that needed to be cut out. I decided not to use the area control tokens. That's what I'll be using the glass gems for. I could have tried using the glass gems for everything, but that struck me as a dumb idea. That would have gotten confusing. I only wanted the glass gems to represent one thing, so there were a bunch of other little things that were going to need to be put on the card, so I went ahead and cut them out. Again, there was a component that was meant to be double-sided, the little hexagons with +1 on one side and -1 on the other. I went ahead and glued them back to back, using another heavy game, Mage Knight, to keep them all nicely smushed together. Again, this turned out to not be strictly necessary. That's a step you can probably skip if you're printing this game for your own use. Anyway, total construction time was roughly 2 hours, just a little bit under that. And now, the game is ready to play. How to play Immortal. Each player takes control of a deck of cards representing a pantheon, a collection of gods and monsters and heroes and such, all with similar cultural roots. Each card will have numbers on each of its 4 edges. Each number represents a card's strength, attacking in those directions, and defending against attacks coming from that direction. Players will take turns placing cards onto the battlefield. Each time a new card is placed, it will try to conquer its neighbors. Fights are resolved by comparing adjacent numbers. If the new card has the higher number, that card wins and conquers the other card for the player who just played it. This is complicated by the cards having special abilities, typically unique to their particular pantheon and revolving around similar themes. The abilities come in two fundamental flavors. The one with the gray borders are Fire and Forget. Once the card is played, the special ability kicks in and then has no further effect for the remainder of the game. The ones with the gold borders, however, have some sort of lasting effect and have to be considered anytime that card is interacted with subsequently. The game is played in two phases. Each phase ends when either there's no more room on the battlefield to place new cards, or when one player runs out of cards. In addition, each set of cards is divided into three types. The weakest cards, the level 1s, the mid-range level 2s, and the strong level 3s. The cards are arranged such that the level 1s will come out first, followed by the 2s, followed by the 3s. The game is played in 2 rounds. After the second round ends, the game is over, and the winner goes to whoever controls the most territory. With me is Jasmine and Jeff.
There's this real rad coyote man here, so I think I want to be. Oh, did you?
I was like, I wanted to be the Native American.
They're so cool. No, these
No,
are.
that's-
This is.
that's
Do
cool,
you want?
that's
Do you
cool.
want to be the North American?
No, it's fine.
As long as you're okay with that.
I will cry later.
You can, you can be Japan now. That's like way
You're right,
cool.
you're right. So I'm going to be the Egyptians.
Egyptians,
Give me
alright.
that raw deck.
And let's kick this old school. I'll be the Greeks.
All right.
Did you not? Aren't you familiar with Deer Woman?
She's a woman who's also a deer, Jeff. Of course, I'm familiar with deer woman.
After we build the board, there will be sacred spaces that have that color. So if you play the correct domain, if you play a yellow guy onto this yellow space, he gets +1. Yep, he gets +1 to all his numbers. If you play the wrong color, if you play that guy to, say, a blue space, he gets -1 to all his numbers.
Okay.
You are now weak.
And then there are also these spaces. These spaces give the card that's on them this power. The first thing we have to do is build ourselves a board.
Yeah, it looks like the boards have names.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, these are meant to be, these are thematically appropriate realms, like the Lake of Spirits, or Jigoku. So we will each place one board, and note that these are all double-sided.
Cool. Okay.
Do we place our own Pantheon's board?
No, you
Okay.
can dig around and look for stuff.
I can never pronounce it.
Put it here.
Yggdrasil?
Oh wow! So we're basically fighting on the Norse turf. We've got Yggdrasil, Asgard, and Jotunheim.
Ragnarok has come.
Yeah.
Alright, I will play Sekhmet, the Fanatic. That's what that Beatles song is. So he's gonna punch that Minotaur.
And punch it good. And what's the fanatic do?
After his attacks are resolved, I may discard him to the underworld, and if I do, take another turn immediately.
Okay, so the Minotaur is yours now.
Okay.
So
Minotaur is mine. I will discard him to the underworld.
and we'll call this the underworld. We have a common underworld.
There we go.
Okay.
So if you've got something that lets you fish stuff out of the underworld,
You can pick anything. Ooh, that's nice.
yeah.
But you get to immediately take another turn.
Yeah. The
Okay, and then
And
Deer Woman. You're gonna play Deer Woman.
she's a trickster. Oh, and
Yeah, she is.
name her. When this card is played, you may permanently change the dominions of up to 4 target cards within this ability's area of effect.
oh snap.
So I would like for these to become yellow, please.
Wow.
Okay. So yellow, yellow, yellow.
So this guy loses.
Yeah, we lose our thingy.
Flip it, and it's now a negative.
Oh, that's
Oh.
right. And this guy gets another +1
Oh, and this guy.
because he, for every card that's yellow that he's next to,
You just comboed.
yeah.
Because
Yes, I did.
champion. And now that's a 4 instead of a 5, so that card is captured.
Let's do that.
You're going to attempt to bring it.
I'm gonna play Capri, the Sandstorm Master.
Whoa.
Alright, I get to move everyone and swap them around.
Oh, Jesus.
I may swap the positions of any cards within his area of effect.
Which is everything
Alright,
in that direction.
so
Yeah, so, and yeah, you beat him even though he's rocking a +2 at the moment.
my +2 now.
And it's still a +2. He lost the advantage of having the Minotaur near him, but picked up the advantage of having this guy near. Oh no, it's now at +3.
Oh, that's right.
Boom.
Ouch. Should not have left that opening.
So, yeah, I can't say as I approve of that.
So this is by Game Ogami?
Yes.
Cool. Is this coming out, or is this on their website available?
They have successfully kickstarted it.
Cool.
Cool.
Um,
They're going to do a real good job with this. All their games are so highly produced.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Okay, so I'll send out Medusa.
Ooh.
And she is a slayer. So instead of capturing these cards, she straight up murders them.
I will do this thing.
Don't do it.
Which is not nice.
Don't do this thing. This thing that you're
But
about
it's
to do.
not
Don't
nice.
do it. Do it to Pete. Pete always wins. I never win.
These are lies. I've seen you win most games.
I've never won a game in my life. Right,
That
Pete?
is so crazy and not true. It's from up.
Okay, and he gets the Scar superpower because he's on that space.
Yep.
Is listed under the Norse.
This card is attacked. The card which attacked it gets a permanent -2 to all strengths. Okay.
Yowza.
Alright, I'm gonna move Jerkface McJerk, which is this guy.
Alright, hold on 1 second.
Yes.
Jasmine, do you wish to swap position with this card that was just laid next to you?
Good point.
Yes.
Okay.
And now, Jasmine has the Scar superpower.
Truth. Okay.
So you
cool.
do,
You're going to take a -2.
yeah, you do take that guy, but you do
Yeah, because
get fairly messed up in the process. Going to send in the Harpies.
Oh no.
They can do a ranged attack 2 away. There's nothing there for them to attack. But the just straight up, hello, I punch you attack
Yeah.
is getting the job done. Send forth the Amazons. They attack this guy, but they are just ineffective. They will successfully attack this guy and take 2 -1s in the process. Not that it matters, because they successfully attack this guy and both of them die.
Okay. Well, that was dramatic. Here.
Ooh.
Which won't take down the Medusa, but will take down the Waddle? What does it
the
say?
Waddle. The Waddle monster.
The Waddleman.
Lord of Penguins. Is there any Egyptian, like, pantheon god that's like a big brute, like Hercules was, or, you know, like...
Yeah, who is the
Thor
Egyptian
is-
god of
I can't-
whoop-ass?
Yeah, I can't think of anyone.
God, I control that already. Why am I angsting over who I'm going to sacrifice when I control that already?
So your cards don't
Okay.
attack your cards?
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's honestly embarrassing. Okay.
I think I did the same thing earlier.
Alright, I'm going to go here.
At least I gave you a lot of time to prepare.
Yeah. Which gives me +1, and then...
Yep, that'll f up a Medusa.
Yeah, which f***s up the Medusa.
Well then, it's Egyptian combo time. I'll play Sexmet here, who just dies and gives me another turn for free after battling. So I'll kill a kook because he shouldn't be talking shit. That's not cool.
Yeah, and then, yeah,
And he goes,
Conan scars him, but he doesn't care because he's dead anyhow, so f it.
And I get another turn. I'm gonna put Sobek. Sobek's gonna fight this guy.
Okay, successfully. He will take 2 -2 tokens that he actually cares about,
That's fine.
but he does win that fight. I
Realize something important about the strategy, which is that if you have a good card in phase 1, you really want to make sure it's on the board, because I have a really good card and it is not on the board.
Yeah. I just have a...
Like, situationally, it wasn't the best card ever, but, like,
Right.
game-wise, it's a really good one. So I should have put it out, even though each individual situation... That's really important.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
Critical
see
to
who
know.
won the... Jasmine. Jasmine won the round. She has 7. So,
I'm sorry, 7? 8? Try 8.
well, hey.
Wow.
So 8 to 5 to 5.
So I
it's
win.
looking like. So okay, so
now we
now
go
it's
home.
time
I win.
for phase 2.
No.
Jasmine, you may place a new terrain.
Oh my god. Are your cards way more powerful now?
No. Not really.
Yeah, like all my dudes took a level between phases 1 and 2. Shit. Okay, same thingy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Has to touch 2 sides and...
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll take him down.
Well, you probably will, and then I'll have to do some sort of Egyptian trickery.
No, I'm like normally not good at these kinds of games, so you probably will win.
You say that about every game you're not good at, that you say you're not good at, and then you win that game.
Don't let people know my secrets.
That you're secretly
I'm a
good
board
at
game
games.
shark.
You are a board game shark. Horus. Sandstorm.
What?
Sandstorm.
Mother. Mother.
Alright.
Does he attack all the way down or just once?
He only attacks
Oh,
one. He only
God.
attacks one.
But
I Sandstorm as well. I thought he attacked 2.
Oh,
yeah,
he's got the range thing, so he attacks 2.
Yeah.
So,
I can beat up those guys already. Because why not? That's what he does.
because you can.
Yeah. Actually, let's just straight up switch it up.
Okay, so both of these guys are bagged.
Horus,
yeah.
take that Sphinx. Take
Get
that Mishibijui.
Horus.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Oh, you don't know how?
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah,
let's
we'll draw.
keep the trash talk to a minimum here, okay? We're just here for a friendly battle arena between gods.
Alright, yeah, I'm gonna send in Ares to straight up murder some fools. He has the Slayer power, so these two aren't captured, they just dead.
Goodbye. Ooh, that made a space on the board.
Ooh, I'm salivating right now. Where can I cause some chaos?
Right in that spot.
Here.
Ooh, it's a coyote.
Oh,
Yes.
fuck me.
So he's gonna kill Ares.
Yes, he is.
Wow.
I was not thinking Ares was particularly vulnerable from that direction.
And
Yep.
Silver Fox. He's pretty vulnerable though, which I'm not happy about, but you know, for now, I'm cool with that.
So Athena says, "What's up, fools?"
Oh, what are you doing?
So I'm taking Anubis, and then both her ranged attacks hit.
Ouch.
Oh man.
Yeah, that goddess of war. And this guy should have a +1 anyway, because he's got a friend now.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a terrible idea in general. So let's not do that.
Now I have to go back to stressing that you're gonna take my spot.
Alright, and
You gotta think more like an immortal. Right?
I'm a mere flesh
Yeah.
sack.
That's not big.
alright, so we had a technical mishap. The short version is that Jeff won.
Damn right. No, Egypt won.
Egypt won.
That's right.
16 to 11 to 10. I was dead last. The Greeks did poorly. So,
Set was definitely the MVP of the game, entering the board and dying immediately at least 4 times.
what did you guys think of the game?
I really like how the powers are thematically consistent across the board for each pantheon. So, like, I play around with death a lot, and I also have a sandstorm and a mirage ability because you're in the desert. I'm from the desert. I'm desert people. So I had 2 very specific themes going on with my pantheon, and I was really into how that worked.
My concerns largely didn't play out. My big one was I was concerned that there were too many fiddly bits, that getting through all the powers was going to be a pain in the butt and drag the game to a halt. And there were some moments of analysis paralysis, but for the most part the game flowed pretty well. Mm-hmm. And once the powers start showing up, people generally, it's not too tough to keep track of what they are. The game isn't overburdened with powers that are permanently in play, and thus you always have to keep your eye on. Like, there's a lot of special stuff, but a lot of it is just one shot. It goes off when it comes into play, and done.
Yeah, the only time I was really overburdened with a decision to make is when I could bring a guy from the graveyard, or sorry, the underworld back to my hand. And I was like, oh, I can select any card with any power. And then I had to look at the board, and I was like, oh, I can do anything at all. What is the best? I can't make that decision. That would take forever. I'm just going to take Set again so he can come in and kill a dude and die. I can get a free turn. And it worked out for me. And that brings me to another point, which is that we played very aggressively in this game.
Yeah.
None of us played defensively on the edges of the board.
Right.
Yeah, we mentioned that during our first discussion, but there are definitely strategies to be explored here. Yeah. It's tough to plan too far ahead with 3 players, but that having been said, yeah, there are strategies worth exploring, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, like I feel like if you have guys with counterattack, you would take like a piece of the board specifically, or if you have guys rather with specifically higher numbers in certain directions, you might want to take a piece of the board that'll have counterattack on it rather. And then you know you're going to place that there to place your guy there defensively so no one can kick you off there, that sort of thing. So, yeah, there's so many avenues of strategy you can play around with this. It's so replayable.
Yeah, for sure.
I know the creator wants to do a Summoner Wars style expandability where you can buy a pack that is a new Pantheon and bring essentially a new army into play. But the problem with that is that each Pantheon has a unique set of powers. So unless he's willing to limit new Pantheons to just the pre-existing powers, that means not only do you need new cards, you need new board fragments that potentially bring those powers into play. You're going to need new cheat sheets to hand out to everybody so they know what the new powers are. You're going to need some new fiddly little tokens. He kickstarted, so it's his problem now.
Yeah, I think, when it comes to that sort of release method, it really comes down to, like, how often are you releasing those expansions? Is it, like, 2 a year? Well, if you play this game all the time, maybe that's not so burdensome. But if it's like, Fantasy Flight, and you're releasing an expansion a month or something, that's impossible to keep up with.
Yeah.
At least unless you're like a tournament Immortals player.
Right.
Yeah. So Immortal, to me, highlighted the things that I like about Mythology. The different characters, the different themes, the different people. It did not highlight the different places, but I guess I'll get to that in a sec. So the things that worked for me in this game were the special powers unique to the different gods, and the way that those powers manipulated the table and the creatures around them, and they were very thematically consistent. Then the second thing I thought really worked for the game was the modular board and how it expanded so well for multiple players. So this is a game that you can buy knowing that you're only going to have it for 2 players, but you can bust it out if you got more people there with you. And I think that is a huge boon. Not many 2-player games or strategy games work really well with more than 2 players. In fact, most strategy games only work well with 2 players, whereas this seems like a really great multiplayer strategy game. The board has named tiles, but they are very bland. So that was one thing I would improve. It looks like you're just all in like Mount Olympus's halls of porcelain beauty, right? The other thing that I think was an issue is that I feel like there was a kind of a runaway leader at one point, and I felt like it came back from that, but it definitely could have got worse if Jasmine hadn't played smarter. Like, she played real smart, so she was able to come back a little and even it out. But had she made like one wrong decision at the wrong time, no way she could have come back. So there can be this effect where people can get kind of played out of the game, and maybe I'm talking out of my butt, but I feel like that could have happened, and I saw it was going to happen, and had she made the wrong play, it would have happened. It didn't happen, but I think it could have happened. So that said, I think it's still a really strong game. for the reasons that I said, and those reasons easily outweigh the detriments that I lay down for you.
As the winner of today's game, you have the option of keeping it. Would you like to be the owner of this copy of Immortal?
I actually want to buy this when it comes to retail because it seems really cool, and I love mythology. Would I want to own this? I don't want to take it from you guys. If it's my reward for winning, I feel pretty awesome about that. And yes, I would like to keep it. So the answer is yes.
All right.
So I really liked that the game had a lot of modular components to it, so that you had the different pantheons of gods, but you also had the different modular board elements. I thought that was really clever, and it means there's going to be a lot of replay value and a lot of expansion value. I also really enjoyed the phases of the game, because the first phase of the game is kind of played out, and then you kind of add the second boards to it, and you're adding boards around it, which gives the first half a little bit more meaning and a little bit more depth kind of in retrospect. Playing it again, you definitely want to be careful about where you put your pieces along the edge. Winning too many battles along the edge means you're probably going to lose those pieces in the second round. A problem that I have with games of this type is that you can't really decide on your move until it's your turn. Picking up your cards and looking at them and trying to kind of plan ahead is a little bit of a fool's game, just because you can have your spots totally wiped out from under you. That said, I don't think it's a problem with Immortal. I think it's a problem with games of this type. There's just no planning ahead, and that's kind of something that you have to deal with. In terms of the artwork on this game specifically, I feel like the numbers around the edges could have been a little bit brighter and easier to read. I also think that the amount of text you have to read is a little bit overwhelming initially coming into the game. It's not too bad once you kind of have memorized your pantheon, and then you can kind of have it and refer to your sheet for the other pantheon's powers as you need to. And every pantheon does have a reasonable 4 to 5 powers each that you'll kind of memorize as you go on, but coming into the game I saw the cheat sheet and I was like, oh my gosh, this is really overwhelming.
If Jeffrey had not claimed this game for his own, would you want to own this copy?
Absolutely, yeah. If it wasn't this copy, I'm with Jeff. I would totally buy this retail. I think this is a lot of fun. I really enjoy sellswords and I enjoy games of this type, so I think that this is something I would absolutely buy retail because you can play it with multiple players. It's great.
Now, I enjoyed this game quite a bit. I really liked the flow of it. I felt there was a good amount of choices I could be making. I thought that my choices were interesting without being overwhelming. I thought my choices were consistently meaningful. I never felt like I was, damn it, there's nothing here I can do. And yeah, this is just a cool, fun game. I really enjoyed playing it. One detail, I suspect that the Pantheon-specific powers need some fine-tuning. I'm thinking in particular of the Slayer ability with the Greek gods. That looked cool because I could just blast a hole in the board and toss cards into the underworld. But with 3 players, the odds of me being able to come back and exploit any of the holes I made were pretty slim. And with the Egyptian in the game, he was just feasting off of the corpses that I was generating. He had lots of things that he could bring back out. I would address the rule set. I shielded the other players from this, but the rules are very overwritten. The rule set is too bulky, and there's too much of it that is exhaustively explaining the obvious. Like, there is a lot of text devoted to explaining the mechanic of 2 adjacent numbers fight it out. A lot of text. And then there's a lot of fluff text in there going into detail, or just describing the general feel of each pantheon. And frankly, I feel that's something that the players ought to discover just by playing the game. If Jeff were not walking out of here with our copy...
Goodbye! It's mine.
I would totally keep this copy of the game, and yeah, if I see this on a shelf, I would probably buy it. Shoot, I may have to keep an eye on how it's doing on what the production schedule is, because he kickstarted it successfully, and this is a cool little game. I would happily own this. I would happily play this again.